frame மட்டும் வச்சுக்கோங்க சார். ஓகே ரெடி. ஓகேமா, நல்லா தான் இது. ரெடி 3 2 1 யூ.
வணக்கம். ஒரு மணி செய்திகளை வழங்குவதற்காக நான் லாக்னி ஸ்ரீராம். தலைப்புச் செய்திகளை பார்க்கலாம்.
Welcome to Off the Record, the podcast that takes you inside the madhouse. Newsroom. I am Shreya and I live for breaking news.
And I am Khushi and I live for lunch breaks. But sure, let's talk about how newsrooms decide what's urgent and what's just filler. Spoiler alert, it's not what you think.
India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh met his Chinese counterpart, General Li Shangfu. India stuck to the same principles as before. Resolve the border first.
Okay, remember all the big numbers are here in this India Today magazine that's out tomorrow morning. But let's bring you the methodology at the moment.
US reciprocal tariffs are likely to hit India and other nations on the 2nd of April. Ahead of that, Assistant US Trade Representative Brendan.
So Shreya, let me ask you something. Who decides that Malaika Arora's walk is primetime material?
Oh, come on, Khushi. That was groundbreaking journalism.
Malaika Arora ऐसे Malaika ji
drug do mujhe drug do.
Taking inputs coming in on the broadcast at this point in time in a fresh twist to Sushant death probe. Ria's pictures with a mango cake have thrown open questions about her claim that she never saw Sushant after June 8th.
Sounds like a solid crime thriller, doesn't it?
All right. Let's get serious. The real question is, who decides that this is what should go on air? Who draws the line between serious national security breach and breaking news? Actor eats paratha.
And more importantly, why does that line keep disappearing when TRPs come into play?
Exactly. News isn't just about information anymore. It's curated. What we see is carefully picked menu, prepared in an editorial meeting where some stories make it to the main course and others get dumped like unwanted leftovers. Now for a minute, let's talk about the invisible hand of influence. For example, the Pulwama attack covered in 2019. While one channel was sensationalizing the news with dramatic background music, another was actually doing ground reports from the attack site.
February Pulwama attack in a sharp contrast to the position taken by the Ministry of Home Affairs
near Avantipura in Jammu and Kashmir's Pulwama district.
From Pulwama with the very latest where the encounter has
The CRPF in Pulwama in South Kashmir. However,
same event, completely different narratives. And ultimately, it's the editorial stance of a newsroom that makes the final decision.
Oh, you mean like the Sushant Singh Rajput case in 2020? For months, we saw panel discussions, forensic theories, WhatsApp chat being discussed on air. And today, CBI gives clean chit to Ria. So who decided that it's their call to shape narrative against Ria?
And if you compare that with the COVID-19 crisis that was ripping throughout the country that time, the migrant workers were literally walking home with no food. But yeah, let's debate Ria Chakrabarti's texts instead.
And that brings us to a bigger question. What happens in those editorial meetings? Who's the game changer in the room? The reporters bring in stories, the editors weigh in, but ultimately, who is the person selecting stories?
The center seat. The throne from where news agendas are set. And let's be real, sometimes it's not just journalistic judgment. It's advertisers, political pressures, and audience engagement stats whispering in their ears.
Well, that's true. Like how major media houses covered farm law protest. Some framed it as farmers' genuine struggle, while others subtly hinted at foreign-backed propaganda.
A top story, the farmer protest, the protests against the new farm laws have reached the heart of the capital.
Farmers across the country in different parts participated in a Bharat Bandh. However, there was a mix.
Let's return back to our top story, which is about the farmers' agitation. Now, pictures on your screen are actually from.
Now, while
yesterday
farmers
about-
mainly from Punjab are leading the protests against the farmers' bill, in other states as well.
Same protest, completely different takes.
Because at the end of the day, breaking news is just a well-dressed product. And we, the audience, we are the buyers. So we will answer all these questions for you one by one in each episode of our podcast. To begin with, let's enter the Tamil Nadu branch of News 18.
Stepping into News 18's Chennai office, which is in Nungambakkam, you immediately notice how different it is from what you might imagine a newsroom to be. The building is multi-floored and it is not just News 18's office. It is housed with different corporate hubs. But as you approach, there's something that stands out.
It's a 6-seater car that sits right near the entrance. It has a towering mast above it, boldly displaying CNN News 18. It's a throwback to when the channel was still CNN IBN. And that is how CNN marks its presence even before you walk into the building.
Entering the building, you spot signs directing you to the 5th and 6th floors, where the News 18 offices are located. The elevator right up is ordinary until the door opens and the unmistakable rich aroma of coffee floods your senses.
Honestly, it's less of a newsroom and more of a coffee factory. The scent is everywhere, as if caffeine itself is fueling the journalists inside.
Well, Kushi, where's the lie? As soon as you cross the 2 security guards, a 10-meter walk down a corridor leads you straight into the heart of the newsroom.
On the left, the news desk is buzzing with activity. Editors double-checking headlines, reporters making frantic calls. And to the right, there's the server room, 2 studios and a primary PCR, the production control room, which is overseeing live broadcasts.
And do you think it's the end? Walk a little further and you find another narrow passage leading to a second PCR, where an anchor is mid-recording while others are going live at that very moment. It's a world of organized chaos. Before we get into today's conversation, let's talk about News 18 itself. Ever wondered when it started, how it became such a dominant player in the news industry?
Let me answer this. It all started as CNN IBN back in 2005, but then it became News 18 in 2018. And did you know that News 18 Tamil Nadu is particularly known for focusing more on regional news than national stories? That's something that makes them stand out.
Exactly. They prioritize rural reporting, covering district level news before mainstream media even notices. That kind of hyper-local journalism builds a strong audience connection. And it also means that their newsroom works in a completely different way than, say, a national news channel that mostly pick up Delhi or Mumbai-centric stories.
National and regional, there's a complete polar opposite, you can say, because I have worked in regional news, national channels also. I was with another competitor channel for 2-3 years, and now I'm in a regional. So you can there's a polar opposite difference, because in national you can see there will be focus only on Delhi centric politics. So yes, of course, South is a very big market for national channels, and now they have started picking up a lot of news articles from news items from south region and regional regions also. But mostly the national channels will have their focus on Delhi-centric politics and Delhi-centric developments. As far as regional is concerned, that is in national channels, whenever there's a regional development, now we are saying they're giving more focus. But when I was a regional reporter, as far as national channels are concerned, there will be only 1 or 2 reporters for the entire state. So it depends on the reporter to give the news which will go on air. So if you start working in a national channel, you will get to know the pulse of the channel. You know what news item will go on air and what you should send. Like, so you will get a grasp of it. So the reporters will start sending news items based on that. So that goes on air. As far as regional is concerned, maybe the 80% of the mix, 80% of the rundown will be specifically regional alone. Maybe in the 20%, maybe with national or international. But as far as regional channels are concerned, 80% will be on regional issues, regional politics and regional developments. And yes, if there's a big day, something is connected which is connected to Delhi or North politics, definitely yes, that day it will be completely opposite. They will be giving more importance to the Delhi developments. Now we are seeing the parliament is underway. So when the parliament began or when the budget began, we in our channel we gave more importance to parliament developments and budget developments. That is 80% will be national news and 20% will be regional news, or there will be no space. So that is how the day gets decided. As far as if you speak about regional channel, national channel, or national channel, I feel that regional channels give more importance to people-centric issues or people-focused issue. In national channels, yes, but it is very hollow. Like when you send something, when you send a story, it runs for 2-3 bulletins and it dies away. But when it comes to regional channel, if there is an issue and it goes on, like at least for 2-3 days, it goes in regional channel. So personally, I feel regional channels are more people issue centric or social issue centric.
Newsrooms are symphony of madness. And contrary to popular belief, it's not just the anchor making the magic happen. There's an entire battalion at work.
Editors, producers, vision mixers, reporters, the sound crew, the graphics team, and that one intern who somehow knows everything but still speaks to no one.
And Khushi, according to Vivek, who is the head of News 18 South Indian branch, you know what is the most thankless job? It's the news desk.
You do push something, or on the ticker you put some minor spelling mistake, it becomes a cuss word. This has happened to all of us, and on air you say something unparliamentary.
And that's why copy editors sleep with one eye open.
Khushi, this brings us to the question, what is a news story? How do journalists decide what's important? Let's hear it from Vivek.
So usually the editors are free to take whatever calls. It's a very non-intrusive editorial policy that we have. The editors in themselves are experts.
But Shreya, tell me, what is the objective of their newsroom?
Well, Hemlata, who is the deputy editor of News 18, will answer this for you.
So for us, we have more for the stories that comes from the district part, that is the rural part. So that is the reason where we focus more on rural stories. For us, we have a morning bulletin that is break free. We go break free from 6 o'clock in the morning. Full district news. We have complete district news, around 60 news in that half an hour slot. So we are focusing more on districts where it is done easily. It can reach the rural audience. So for television, it is just a minute story. But for digital, what we do is, as you mentioned, for Insta, certain stories pick up really well. It might not be an interest for a common person in the city who's here. But for district, even if you share a small story of somebody or something that has happened, what it happens is it gets circulated in their groups. So then there is an identity, okay, this channel is doing something like this. So they are focusing on this district. So there you get specific news where we end up posting more stories for rural. So that's the reason why we chose more of rural stories. Not that we don't go for stories within the city or across the globe. We do have stories, but there are certain stories that will definitely work for the rural audience. Even a common district news, common news that is happening in Chennai will definitely work for the rural audience also.
So that is the objective of Newsroom.
And that is how credibility trumps clickbait. Well, most of the time.
And with this, buckle up as we dive into the newsroom chaos.
It's 8 a.m. Editors have their entire day planned. Everything seems to be under control.
Until boom! Reporters scramble. A live visual is missing. The assignment desk is yelling. The real crisis?
Shreya, what is that sound?
It's the sound of heartbreak of the journalist because the coffee machine broke. It's the newsroom's life support.
While they are mending the coffee machine, let's look at the different angles a story can take.
The editor has to look at these things and suggest that no, you have to look at Sunita Williams in this thing, and how, like what I suggested today, Sunita is such a common name. Don't even write Sunita Williams. See, Sunita. There are pictures of her in a salwar suit with these things. Put those up. Get a feeling that she's as Indian as possible. Though she has nothing to do much with India, but as Indian as it can get her home. Bring back our daughter. That kind of a line. That sells. That emotion quotient always sells in whether it be television or on YouTube. This sells very well.
Of course, the TRP factor. Let's see how that impacts a story.
Somewhere something would be very small, but we can end up making it big, playing it up big, getting reactions from officials, taking it up big, going live from spot, getting reactions from the public there. And then suppose if we have another channel that is coming up with the same story that we've been carrying for a longer time. And again, we have to keep the pace. You just cannot go down from there. You have to ensure that we have another competitor who is running, close to you. So you have to think of ideas where you can bring it more bigger from there. Either planning for a newsroom, taking reactions from spot, taking live in digital as well. Because now it is competition for digital. Nobody is ready to watch news in just channels, switching over channels.
Unless a celebrity sneezes, then all bets are off.
Apologies for this interruption, but we have some breaking news.
The newsroom has to walk a tightrope between sensationalism and integrity.
I agree.
See, that is where the major full-fledged media houses are differentiated from the what you call standalone players who just want clicks or who are there for clickbaits, as you said. So that clickbait will only take you that far, Beyond that, if you want a sustained viewership, if you want viewers or people watching you to come back to you and watch you for some time. So once a person or a viewer is bitten, they won't come back. They know that this person or this channel or this site is not giving you facts. What they give you as a header or as a thumbnail may not be the facts of the story. So they won't come back to you. That's where brands are still required. That's why brands, whether it be Hindu, whether it be TOI, whether it be Express, whether it be Network 18, NDTV, Times, these are all required. That's why, because they have a certain credibility.
But Khushi, all we see as an audience is the news anchors and reporters talking. So what is their role in newsmaking? How much do they contribute to the headlines? Do they even have role in newsmaking?
Great question. To answer this question, we have Rajni Shiva. She's the news anchor of News 18.
experience those things, but not on big issues certainly. Like we do some explainers, like for example, there was new rules for FASTag, right? We will do explainer on what is the new rules, how you have to do. Those kind of things we always do. In those kind of explainers, some will be very silly and some will be of much importance. They always lose the important things and used to tell us to do the silly things. And we will tell, no, this is important. We are not interested to do this thing. And they will accept. Everybody has that mentality to accept what others' input is. So it is good. Because on the whole, it is important what the audience wants.
So anchors also have a big contribution. And what about reporters?
You remember the deputy editor Hemlata? Let's listen from her.
So for as far as this is concerned, not all reporters, they have this line of what the editorial will do. All they have to do is they have to prepare a day plan from their end. We have basically 4 zones, the Trichy, Madurai, Coimbatore and Nellai zones. They have sub-stringers below them. So what the bureau chief does is, he prepares a day plan from everybody. He gets the day plan of the reporters of what they're going to do for the next day. It will be a list of events, list of stories, list of ideas for digital. What they do is they send it across to the assignment. So once it comes to the assignment, we have somebody from the assignment who would sit and work on the day plan. So where we have to finalize if we can go big on this. The stringers who send the plans there, they will not know that it's a big story. We can play it up big. It will be somewhere in one corner, just a one-line brief. Then we have to have a one-on-one with the reporter. Just give him a call and ask him what is the story about. Give us in detail. So only when we get to know the story in detail, we'll plan for the next day. Okay, so for tomorrow we can take this story big. Okay, this reporter will be joining live from there. We can go reactions from these people. We can take it up big. So that's how it works. They will not give us stories that will have anything aligned to do with the editorial here. List of events, yes. For example, if a particular party is holding a protest there, yes, that's political. Here when it comes up, then we have to see, okay, if it is going to be a big protest, then how are we going to handle it? What are they going to talk on stage? What is the bite going to be about? If there is a bite that is going to end up in a controversy, then we have to see from there where we are going to pick it up. Getting the reactions from the opposition parties or from whatever they spoke from. So we don't push it to the reporters to keep in mind of the editorial and then give the plan. If you're going to end up doing that, they will not end up giving a proper plan for us. So we keep it open. Only after it comes to us, we have to sit here, have a brief meeting with the editorial team. Then we decide how we are going to take it up from there.
And then there's the real pressure. Political pressure, corporate pressure, and of course, the editorial bias.
Political influence is very minimal. I mean, they may be minimal in the sense they'll call you, they'll tell you, this is happening, please come cover. They may have a problem if negative story about them goes. They have a problem if something positive about their rival goes too much. If Vijay is covered beyond a point, like non-stop, some people may have a problem on both the sides. If Vijay, so that is, these are all things you can handle. There is never a threat kind of a thing that you should do. They don't tell you, especially maybe because I have only worked with brands which are there. So maybe when you are with when you are independent or with a smaller brand, maybe there may be pressures, But otherwise, generally, there isn't this political pressure is something that I haven't majorly faced.
Even though Vivek says that there is minimal political influence, is that true for the other mainstream media houses?
So let's say you are a journalist. You uncover something huge. Maybe it's about corruption. Maybe it's about election funding. Or maybe it's about someone very powerful not liking the number of zeros in their Swiss bank account. You work on the story, you verify every fact, and then
poof, it disappears.
Exactly. Because just writing a good, well-researched story isn't enough. You have to get past editors, advertisers, political pressure, legal threats, and sometimes even sudden technical glitch.
Oh yes, and my personal favorite, this article isn't loading due to technical difficulties, which is just code for, oops, I think we upset someone important.
Take NDTV India for example. In 2016, the government ordered a one-day blackout of the channel. What's the reason? Their coverage of the Pathankot terror attack. Official claimed it revealed sensitive details.
Oh yes, because obviously every other channel discussing the same attack was just doing patriotic journalism, right?
Exactly. Critics argued that this was a warning to the press, a way of saying, be careful what you air. Fast forward to 2023. BBC releases a documentary questioning Prime Minister Modi's role in 2002 Gujarat riots. Within days, the government invokes emergency powers to ban it in India.
And the best part, the documentary wasn't even widely known until they banned it. The government practically did its marketing for them.
And then came the raids. BBC India's office was suddenly under investigation for tax violation. Nothing to do with the documentary, of course.
Oh no, just another coincidental crackdown. The timing? Completely random.
And Khushi, it's not just foreign media. Even homegrown independent journalism is under fire. Look at NewsClick.
The digital news platform that got labelled a national security threat just because it dared to question the government?
Exactly. In 2023, their journalists were raided, detained, and the most favorite act, accused under UAPA, a law meant for terrorists.
Imagine being a reporter and waking up one day to find out that your latest article is now being treated as a criminal offense.
And here's the thing. Censorship isn't always so obvious. Sometimes it's just silent. Like when advertisers pull out funding from channels that are too critical of the government.
Oh, you mean like the time when the leading newspaper tried to investigate electoral bonds and suddenly all major advertisers vanished?
Bingo! The Hindu and the Indian Express both reported irregularities in political funding through electoral bonds. Next thing you know, advertising revenue from big corporate houses, who by the way donate heavily to political parties, starts drying up.
And let's not even start on how business tycoons now own news channels. Adani owns NDTV, Reliance has stakes in Network 18. So guess what happens when a journalist wants to investigate corporate fraud?
Simple, the story never makes it to air. Speaking of NDTV, remember Ravish Kumar, one of India's most fearless journalists?
Of course, he quit in 2022 when Adani took over NDTV. Because let's be real, an investigative journalist under a billionaire businessman? That's like putting a watchdog in a cage made up of gold.
And Kushi, that's why so many independent voices are leaving mainstream TV. If you want to do real journalism, you either go digital or, go silent. And it's not just news. Even movies and streaming platforms aren't safe.
Oh, like when Tandav had to delete scenes because some people were offended?
Exactly. And you know what? Amazon Prime had to issue a public apology.
Because apparently fictional characters can hurt real life sentiments now.
And it's the same with social media. Twitter accounts of journalists and activists were suspended during the farmers' protest.
Yeah, because obviously tweets from a journalist are more dangerous than hate speech.
But you know what's even worse than censorship? Self-censorship.
The moment journalists start thinking, wait, should I even write this? What if my office gets raided? That's when you know you're in trouble.
And then, selection of news comes with its censorship bias. In today's newsrooms, editors have to weigh every word. News anchors hesitate before questioning power. And reporters have to ask themselves, how far can I go before this story becomes too risky? But Khushi, how did we start talking about censorship in the first place?
We started after Vivek mentioned that they have minimal political influence in News 18. But let's listen from Hemlata about how they deal with these influences.
That's actually a very tough question to answer, okay? Because of course there are a lot of pros and cons, which I would really not like to, go in depth. So we have to manage it. You whatever is there for the day or whatever is not there for the day, end of the day it is like, keeping up the channel. That's all. We have to have competition. Without competition, there's nothing. You see, before there were like very less channels that were running 24/7. So there was not much of competitions. There are days where you had only 3 bulletins in a day. You just come, put the tape, note the time code, give it on air. Okay, fine, my news is gone there for this rundown. Before it was like that, but now it is not like that. So you have to have that pace where you manage yourself, ensure you're there on the lead, make sure you have the pros and cons faced, and then, but end of the day, you'll have that small satisfaction where you were the one who broke the news.
Well, Khushi, then let's address the elephant in the room. One question that always lingers in the minds of audience. Does corporate influence shape the news we consume?
Oh, absolutely. People always wonder if media houses bend to the will of big corporations, especially when these companies fund advertisements or have ownership stakes in media networks.
Right. The perception is that newsroom might avoid certain stories or present them in a particular light to please their investors. But the reality is a bit more complex.
Exactly. Journalists on the ground are often doing their best to report the truth. But at the same time, editorial decisions do consider factors like funding, audience reach, and even political affiliations of the media owners.
And let's not forget the balance media houses need to maintain. If they lose credibility, their audience won't trust them, and that's bad for business too.
So in a way, while corporate interests do exist, mainstream media brands still rely on trust. If they lose that, they risk losing their audience, and advertisers won't pay for a dying platform. Personally, it feels like a really difficult situation. But hey, sometimes this pressure even leads to hilarious fails.
There are some reporters who, when you like call them on a con call, it happens more among these reporters. They tend to be very brash, the way they talk, and you ask them about some crime. They don't. I mean, you are in mixed company. There are certain things you shouldn't say in the meeting. These guys, especially these crime reporters and all, especially in Delhi, these guys have these things. Here, it's a little more cultured thing. They're very wary of saying what not to. But it used to happen where they will say things and then you're all saying, oh my God, shut up, man. There are other people involved also. So that happens, there is this crassness about some reporters. Or over a period of time, they become like that, they're used to that.
Even the most seasoned news anchors sometimes fumble. And when they do, the newsroom turns into a comedy show.
They've also stopped accepting public submissions for verification. Last week, Twitter said guidelines were being updated due to confusion. The company says any users who tweets content... Excuse me. Okay. All right, pulling it together now. It's 5:37. Good Thursday morning to you.
Oh, man. Oh, go to one. That's what we do. We go to this camera. All right, here we go.
And that was an anchor having the time of her life on air. On air. Mr. Chandrakumar, who is a member of the assignment team, also has some fun stories to tell us.
So I was only like 5-6 years into the field. So we got information that Justice Ibrahim Kalifullah is coming. Sri Lankan fisheries minister is coming to Tamil Nadu. So the issue, fishing issue between Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka. So we all were like, we should go get a bite. We should know, we should ask him why Sri Lankans are killing or attacking Tamil Nadu. So we were so energetic, and we were waiting for like 30-40 minutes, and we saw 2 men with these suits and all that, with police like CRPF protection. They were walking out the entrance. So we were like, let's go fight. So we were all rushing and putting a bite, and like there was the chaos when we put a mic, the cameras has to assemble. So there was so much chaos there. So everybody is assembled, and one reporter asked him a question, and he was taken aback. He was so surprised. He was like, "Pa, now the Supreme Court Judge Ibrahim Khalifullah. I'm not the minister who you are looking for." Nobody would have seen who the Sri Lankan minister is or who Ibrahim Khalifullah is. So like he was taken back, like saying, "I'm not a right person to say because I'm a Supreme Court Judge." So there is another example when Jayalalitha got hospitalized. So there'll be politicians coming to the hospital to inquire with doctors what has happened. So the question session, the press meet was over. So when English channels, when we were taking individual bites, so there was another reporter from a channel. He comes in, "Ma'am, will you get an opportunity? Will you go treat Jayalalitha?" And she was like, "No, ma, I'm a gynecologist."
Well, even the best in the business need to take retakes sometimes. But hey, that's what makes live TV fun, right?
Talking about best in the business, Vivek also has some stories for us.
There was a phone which was like what is known as the input desk number. So we were all sitting in the meeting, and the input head had that phone which is kept there. And that was supposed to be from, we were to get a call from Chota Shakil. Okay. This guy is Dawood's right-hand man, and this guy picked up the phone. He was not supposed to pick up the phone. I was supposed to pick up, and I was supposed to record that conversation. So he picked up, and he didn't know that this guy is going to call. So he was a Bombay guy. Okay, so we were in Bombay, and he said suddenly, "Bhai, kya chahiye, bhai?" What happened? He knew it was Shakil's voice. He knew, and it was on speaker. And 3 times he said, "Bhai, the editor lost his cool." He said, "Bhai, who is your bhai?" After he cut the call, of course. So, but that was like a funny moment on this thing where you have, and this thing happened. These things very rarely happen.
So, is the news breaking or just slightly bent?
I think a little bit of both. Newsrooms are chaotic, but they are the backbone of democracy. And despite the madness, journalists keep going.
So next time you see a breaking headline, remember the newsroom warriors are making it happen.
But do they really work 24/7? Let me just try and talk to one of them. Ma'am, can I please talk to you for 1 minute?
No, not now, please. It's getting late. Sorry, not now.
Well, Anupriya didn't have time to talk to us, but we hope that this episode gave you an inside look into what happens behind the scene. If you ever wondered why some news make it to the front page and some don't, now you know. It's a mix of editorial judgment, competition, and well, a little bit of chaos.
And if you're dreaming of working in a newsroom, just remember, spell check is your best friend and coffee is your lifeline.
Join us next time as we dive into another behind-the-scenes story of the news industry. I am Shreya Singh and I live for breaking news.
And I am Khushi Yadav and I live for lunch breaks. Keep questioning, keep listening, and keep an eye on those who are breaking headlines.